Welcome back to the Hishaku Hideout, a weekly podcast where we talk about the latest chapter and everything Kagurabachi. I'm here with Dice.
Yo, yo.
And as a special treat, we have Shiny returning as a guest. What's up, Shiny?
Yo, yo.
Oh,
come on, man.
Look at that. And today we're getting into chapter 91. And starting back where Hokuto pulls up on Hakuri and them. One thing I do like is me and Dice talked about why didn't, if Hakuri is this like big, like main important key for them to burn out, like Yura said at the temple, why didn't Hokuto just take his head off, right then and there? But we see in the opening pages, he doesn't recognize him until he actually looks at him. And then from there, we see him going to take his sword out to kill him, and then Kiri stops. By the way, that's just a badass way to stop someone opening their sword. But how are you feeling about like the opening sequence of this chapter, Shiny?
Dude, I like it. I didn't even realize like it was that deep until you just said it. Because when I initially read it, I was just like, okay, cool choreography. I love the choreography. Because I always notice how like cool Hokuzono manages to do it. Because he's really good at like doing perspectives and like mixed with the paneling, choreography. But I didn't realize, like, oh yeah, they are trying to actually get rid of Hakuri. Yeah, good eye for catching that.
Yeah, Hokuto wasn't gonna have an issue with killing him either. We've been debating this, or like the community's been debating this about like him just wanting the great fight, like a good swords fight. But we see this chapter that he has no issue taking care of fodder, or people that are just pests in his way, like no problem at all.
And man, the panel where he goes to choke Kiri, you can really see the villain for like the true villain he is, because like he has this like cool demeanor and like it's like, look at him, the dude's a stud. He got aura, like he's perfect package, glazing him. But look at the panel where he chokes Kiri. The look on his face, like his eyes, like that man is like really trying to choke the life out that girl. Like that dude, he looks different right there.
I also really like how they actually kind of managed to show that there is a clear difference in power between Hokuto and Kiri. And you kind of see that as well with like the difference between Kiri and Natski, because Kiri is not able to even pierce Hokuto's armor, and Natski is easily able to do that, right? So I like
She's
how
nerfed though too.
Yeah, that is true. She is heavily, or like made heavier.
I still agree though. I still agree with you though that I think there is a distinction, even with that being the case though.
Yeah, and then that brings like us to the very next page, which is like him tanking the Itsua, because I know you guys had something to say about that, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking just this dude is like supreme god of like spirit energy manipulation, and I think he just can like control like it to like this so concise and compact that he's just like blowing him back with like a spirit energy to combat the ISO sorcery. My bad, Dice. What were you just saying?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that I think this is a master at work. This is an experienced Hishaku. We haven't really seen a lot of that. Like we've seen spurts of Yura doing his thing, had Shaku doing his thing, but like when you really look at it, like Hirohiko had like a lot of let's say screen time, right? But we saw like what his whole thing was, right? Like he was very much a child still growing. I think what we're seeing with Hokuto, on top of the fact that Hakuri had used Iso twice before, and he's already nerfed because of his brain damage, right? I think it's those two things at work, and a testament to Hokuto's just like you said, experience just manipulating cursed energy. I'm sorry, spirit energy.
Okay, buddy.
But also like him just being like a stud, like it might not even be that deep with the spirit energy. It could just him being a total stud, right? That's what I think.
One, I just wanted to say real quick about Hokuto is most characters that get introduced in the story, it seems as if like they're either a swordsman or they're a sorcerer. With Hokuto, it seems like he's a swordsman for sure, but it seems like he brings the balance like in between those two. Like where Hirohiko used sorcery, he traded that in for his enchanted blade. So now it's like it was just an enchanted blade. With Kaguri, it was like just his sword. He didn't use sorcery. Didn't with this guy. We know that he uses his sorcery. He uses like this weird armor. He like recognizes the Iso before it's off. Because he knows a Sazanami that's a famous like lineage in the world. So it's just like it just seems like he's like that balance in between swordsman and sorcerer. Which is kind of like different than most characters.
Dude, Natski is the perfect parallel to that, because this guy is also using sorcery and swordsmanship in perfect combination. Because we see that like later on in this chapter, and I know there was like a complaint that a lot of people had, like it was like the swordsmen were never using their sorceries to kind of get like an advantage in battle. It was just purely their sword styles and whatnot. But this guy is able to use his sorcery in combination with his swordsmanship, and he's so strong. I love it.
And Uraha, like now we do see Uraha in his Crimson Recital or whatever it was called. We still don't know what it does. It makes him look cooler. But like we will get to see more of that. Like I doubt Hokuzono is not going to bring that back in. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I would like thinking about it now, like. All these people, like you mentioned, Natski, Hokito, we know, and now like with Uraha and Crimson Recital, like seeing these swordsmen use their sorcery, it feels like it just rounds out the power system a bit. Now that we can actually see it in usage, and plus like with the way Hokito is and Natski, it's like you mentioned, it's just a perfect parallel. It's exciting because they're both like raw as fuck. Like they just go band for band.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but Uraha, isn't his thing that he's able to amp parts of his body?
Yeah, I think that's it.
I don't like that. That's what our speculation is, but it's not confirmed.
What?
That's what it seems like.
It was outright stated. No?
Pretty sure it's confirmed.
But we don't know like but it could do more.
Oh,
it could be more than just true. That, though. Is what I'm saying.
True.
Like we don't know the full scale of it, because if that's all it is, that's not that. I mean, I can see for a swordsman who enhance, uses spirit energy to enhance their entire body, and then merges with a blade to like one in unison like spirit, but I can see how that like would benefit Uraha, like with him impacting his sword blows or speed, especially way I White Purity style. But I hope there's a little bit more to it. I just would like to see it like fully like detailed out.
Because it makes sense in my opinion, because like Uraha has a support type of sorcery where he's like giving buffs to, I think, himself, and he maybe could do it to other people as well. We don't know yet, but confirmed to himself. And then he gets the blade that's also able to do support type things, Kumeyuri, right? And we know that Natsuki also wanted Kumeyuri because he wanted to be together with his brother, of course. And he never got it. Why? Because his sorcery is something that's like lightning. It's just attacking. And that's more in line with like Cloud Gouger, right? So,
well, yeah, his brother is probably a better swordsman that also uses a lightning sorcery.
Exactly.
And so it's like, well, yeah,
I think
like,
it fits.
We only got one lightning blade, buddy. We only got one lightning blade. Sorry.
Yeah, I think it really fits because, I think they mentioned at some point that Kunishige made the blades with like just the intent of what the blade was supposed to do, and he didn't do anything more than that. And so if
support or
right. So if he gave out those blades based on specifically that, then it would make sense why his brother Ibuki Misaka got Cloud Gouger and Uruha ended up with Kumeyuri, right?
Kumeyuri, yeah, because like it's like innate sorcery. It's like instinctual to like you and who you are. It's kind of like to bring up curse energy, like Dice said. Like your curse technique is like it's very those sorcerers in JJK. They are kind of like their curse technique. Some of them are defined by their curse technique, and in the panel, I don't want to get Dice's opinion on this, but in the panel, we got like a handful of chapters back of the legendary spread where the sword bearers faced off against the sword master and Shikoku. If you notice, Uruha and Samura are in the very back because they're support. We see Ibiki in
Exactly.
front of them, and then we see the other two sword masters that we don't know yet in the front, in like front of him, or like the closest to him. So I'm interested to see like what those swords do in terms of like if they're like the front line attackers. You know what I mean? Because of how crazy the other swords are. What do you think, Dice?
Yeah, before I get into that really quick, I do want to say that you guys did hit it on the money with it, like this whole like sorcery mixed with swordsmanship fights, because it really does feel like Hokuzono kind of realized, you know, that desire in the community and said, okay, fuck it, here's 3 of them, you know, like here's 3 in just one fight. So I think that is like a funny thing to think about. And yeah, in regards to that panel itself, it's interesting because Ibiki was stated to be on par with Samura, but Cloud Gouger definitely does not feel like a support weapon in the way that Tobimune does. So I'm on the same page as you, Tiberius. I am kind of waiting to see how these other enchanted blades look like, what their abilities are, to see if that kind of still holds weight in terms of like, you know, Cloud Gouger and Tobimune still being used for support or exclusively support, mainly, whatever. I'm just curious to see these other blades because Cloud Gouger to me does not feel like much of a support blade. I could be off.
And I think like the whole like Ibiki was on par with Samura. I think is like a nod, a tip of the hat to him out of respect of like his sword skill before getting an enchanted blade was, you know, on par with Samura. And they said like Samura was the fastest sword even before Tobimune, like before the enchanted blades. So it's like really like Ibiki is this impressive being that we'll never get to see, you know, like actually like move in the world the present time, obviously. But I think it's just to kind of, you know, it gives that lore of the enchanted blade wielders of the war were like built different. And you know, I think that this new generation of swordsmen, like we see with Natski bring up to Hokuto later on, you know, it's, you know, he's got a chip on his shoulder to like say, I'm a master swordsman too. Just because I wasn't an enchanted blade wielder in the war doesn't mean I'm not a, you know, a sword master. And now he's trying to like, you know, get it back in blood for his brother, and he doesn't even know he's fighting his brother's killer. That's what's funny. Hokuto is just like fucking with him.
Dude, very quickly, side tangent. I heard you mention that Samura was in Tokuhida's eyes the fastest swordsman. My bad. But dude, can we quickly talk about the Itsua Shirakai upscale that we got in this chapter, where it said that Shirakai beat both
Twice.
Misaka brothers barely like half to death twice. Bro, what?
Where is this? He's fighting. He's literally, that dude's got a bear as a pet by now. I guarantee it.
Dude, he is that guy, bro.
He's done the same since Samura and Uruha, right?
Oh yeah, it's like he beat us when he was watching right before the flashback of them looking after Kiri. They talk about Itsua was like beating him to like a pulp, like, you know, a few times and shit. Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah. Same treatment.
And this is like after the war. This is them at their peak.
Itsua Shirakai, like, do you want him to like make an appearance in the story, like in the current, like not this arc specifically, but just at any point in the story, would you like him to appear in a fight, a current fight?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
He needs to. He's top
built
one
different.
swordsman.
He like,
That's not a crazy statement. Yeah.
man, I would like to see him pull up. I would definitely like, you know what? Bring the sword bearers to his mountain. And like just leave them there. They don't need to be at a temple or nothing. Ito Shirakai just be chilling, waiting for Hishaku.
Well, he's missing.
Yeah, he's going to fight a bear. That boy wants to fight monsters. He wants to fight legit, like past the human possibility, physical possibility. I don't know. Like, it's gonna be interesting to see how Hokuzono handles his character, because now the lore is like he's enriched his lore like through the swordsmanship side of it so much. Like, he could be taken out of the story, you know, and it could make sense, you know, because he's getting older, and you know, Yura could like use sorcery or something. There's a bunch of different ways it could go, but I do want to see him just pull up.
Dude, I think he's gonna be like the main method for our main cast to get like their
Go find
final,
Itsua
like,
next arc.
training. Because he's like,
I like that.
right. Well, I don't know if it's next arc or maybe the arc after that, but since he's such a high barrier or like a strong opponent, he could essentially be the keystone that like our key characters need to level up their game. Like Iori, for example, we know that Kiri has her goal to eventually beat her granddad. Chihiro still needs to sort of master his EIY purity because it's pretty good right now, but it's not like Samura's level. It's not really like Itsua Shirakai level. You know what I mean? So this guy could really just be like the stepping stone for our characters to level up a bit further down the road, which kind of means that he will need to be part of the story at some point in real time, of course, not in like flashbacks. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I mean, he holds a lot of weight. You know, like he's a threshold. He's like the threshold for like end game swordsmanship. It feels like, you know.
Yeah,
it's cool, you know. And
how about
Natski though?
Lightning Menace specifically.
Badass. Bro, I just like how they get how like these Kaminari members, like these elites, the captains of like these the elite units or whatever. They're down for the cause. They just get involved, and you know, they all like, I can't wait to see like the other ones, the other silhouettes and how that works. But just in terms of Kiri and Natski, it seems like Kiri's willing to throw her life, like put her life on the line for Hakuri to run. You know, even though she has her own like goal, her own like objective in the story, for the greater good of Japan, Hakuri is the key. And she you know,
she catching the paychecks though.
What do you
mean?
Hey man, job. Hishaku's offering $50 in a lighter, bro. Man, let me tell you something. If Hokuto walked in my job, I'm getting fucked.
No, I just any other, because I know we kind of glossed over it, but anything else you guys want to bring up about Lightning Menace? Because I don't think.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, it is the fact that I think Hokazono is using this as a way to make up for the fact that we never got to see Ibuki Misaka in his prime.
100%, right?
I think that's like super obvious to me. And yeah, it also makes sense from a narrative point of view, this type of sorcery. And his brother most likely did as well, right? But I also just really like it because we're getting to see in real time, let's say if Ibuki did not like become fat and whatnot and just like stop fighting, this would have been the level that he would have been at, similar to like Uruha, who also right now does not have his enchanted blade anymore. This would have been essentially what
Ibuki didn't have his sorcery because he still had the eternal contract that barred him. He just didn't.
Well, no, I'm more like saying a scenario like if he lost his blade, similar to like Uruha, he would have been at like this level because we know that they're supposed to be relative to each other. And Natski did keep up his training, and I think maybe he even surpassed his brother in skill in some ways. We don't know yet.
I agree.
Still to be seen. But yeah, I think it's really exciting, dude.
Well, I mean, Ibuki is my GOAT, even though he hasn't really done. He's not in the story, but I really love Ibuki and just like the lore behind him, like, you know, the weather, like how they describe the weather phenomenons or whatever as like the from the cloud gouger. That was so fire. But like, you know, Natski, you know, it you know, just because he had time, you know, his potential, he might have just hit his ceiling, and maybe his ceiling just didn't reach the very, like, you know, close. He might just be close to the level of Ibuki, but like, you know, that's still, we just don't know, you know, because like that's not something I think we'll ever get like, you know, clear, you know, confirmation. But what we do know is Natski's still not to be fucked with. He's still a badass, and like, you know, this is the way his entrance just gas, and you know, he's not shuddering at the fact, like, he's not sweating nothing that's going on but the fact that Uruha's alive. That's the thing that's like bothering him. Like, you know, he feels like it all just, if he gives off the feeling like everything, all that the current scenario, it's all within like reasonable expectations of his ability. That's how he like his like confidence. That's how he like holds himself. But Uruha just wants to be his friend.
Yeah,
That's
it's great, dude.
yeah, it's such a great dynamic, and I want to get you guys' thoughts on this because we did talk about it before we started recording, right? But just set up so well from like you can tell Hokuzono like planned this very well because it's not just the dynamic between a Natski, Uruha, and Hokuto, but even something as subtle as like how Kiri plays into that, and you know, she's established as her own character with her own goals and her own quirks, and she's related to Uruha in her own way in terms of the connection that they have there. So how she like also kind of reminds Natsuki of Uruha, and how, you know, that Uruha reveal takes place later on. Like you can just like, to me it's I know I said this earlier, but now like in terms of referring to Hokuzono, like a master at work. Like this is a guy who understands his characters. He understands how he wants his characters to interact, and he executes it well. And so I want to get like your guys' thoughts. Shiny, you first on you know, on this dynamic on page and what we could expect from it.
I don't know. I'm gonna need you to go first. I'm sorry.
All good. How about you, Tiberius?
It's like when two like titans are clashing in front of like support cast characters, like say like Kiri, they usually just get lost in the sauce, and them intervening will do nothing in the fight. But the fact that Kiri is keeping up with like what's going on and able to contribute to like Natsuki's benefit, you know, to like catch Hokuto off guard, and then that's when you know, like just the fact that she's able to do that, it's like, you know, she's not just a background character. Like she's, you know what I mean? She doesn't just like, she still makes an important, like she still plays a role. Now, what's to come of it, like after this with Yura getting involved, things are good. I just don't know where it's going to go next. Because Dice, if you remember, like we called this exact, what was going to happen in this chapter. Like we nailed it. We guessed right that Natsuki was going to pull up.
We were close, right? I think we thought Hishaku instead of Yura, but you hit it right on the money in terms of Natsuki and Uruha.
Yeah, like up. That, like it's gonna, you know, I could still see, you know, because I was wondering if Yura, like what was Yura gonna do? You know, I thought maybe with him bringing Hokuto in, Yura was gonna use him to like take his spot, so you know, that way Yura could leave, and then it'd be Hishaku and Hokuto versus them two. That's what I think, because I don't see Yura staying here like the entire time, personally. But like, yeah, agreed. Where Kiri fits in all this is, I think, it's going to be about her getting away with Hakuri now. You know, like her like recovering, and then them just trying to escape. Because now Yura might go after Hakuri. That's also possible. You know, like it can go many different ways. But like to what you were saying, Dice, with Hokuzono, Kagurabachi felt like a series that there wasn't going to be a deep cast at first. It almost felt like it was going to be the Enchanted Blade Wielders, Chihiro, and, you know, like a small group. But now, like, we get these elite commanders. They all have their ties to like the past, and like the parallels between like other characters, especially within the Hishaku. It feels enriching. You know, it just gives like, I say a lot of time the word substance, but it's an important thing in the story to like the pages feel heavy when you get dialogue between certain characters or interactions. So like now when we see like Natsuki figure out that Hokuto was his brother's killer, but Hokuto only wants to fight Uruha, is going to piss him off even more. You know, it's like those like dynamics are just going to be so fun to read.
Dude, I'm wondering if Natsuki's even gonna find out, because Hokuto is kind of like, okay, if you beat me, I'll tell you who the killer is, right? So that's a condition that he would have to overcome first.
Well, I think what's gonna happen is
we know that his other condition was like, no, it's fine. His other condition was that he wanted to know where Uruha is, right? And then Uruha pops up at the end of the chapter. And then I'm like, okay, is he still going to do it? Is he not going to do it? I feel like he was maybe planning to do like a bait and switch, because you see like a light bulb on the panel, so he gets like an idea. And I feel like that was kind of hinting towards that he might just say that his brother or Ibuki was killed by a different Hishaku member than himself, so that he could go and fight Uruha. But now Uruha's there, so I'm like, okay, what's gonna happen?
It'd be funny if he's like, oh,
I'm not too sure, but
it was him. He just starts pointing at Yura. He killed your brother, just to like get Natski off his back.
Like kind of gets heat off him.
That would be funny to see.
Well, knowing Hokuto or the little we know about him, Tiberius, you called him a smoke demon when he, first came into the fold. I'm thinking he's the type to be like, okay, Uruha's here. Hey, bet. Yeah, I killed your brother. What's up? I feel like that and like that we don't know a lot about Hokuto, right? But I feel like that would be so in character for him to do. Like, he's got Uruha now. I don't know if he's gonna leave him to Yura or what Yura's gonna do, but he has what he wants now. So I feel like he very well could be okay, cool. I killed
felt
him.
like when I was reading about the idea that he got to tell him, like, oh, if you beat me, I'll tell you, and if I beat you, you tell me. Like, I felt like he was like kind of like keeping that in his back pocket to like push Natski like further, like to like drive him, like to like see how far he's got, and then like hit him with that to try and get more out of him, get that bloodlust to like when you get bloodlust, you go crazy, and try and get the best fight you possibly can out of him. Like, oh, you got to beat me to find out, so he's gonna try to beat him, but if he feels like he's holding back, then he'll whip that card out. I don't know. He could just be dicking around too. Who knows? Like, we still need to see some more dialogue with him, but like I feel like we get a good grasp of like his nature. It almost feels like he's like a wild card of the Hishaku, where they have to like they have to entice him to come help. He'll help with the whatever they need him to, but they have to like excite him in order to get him there. Like, they're like, that's why Yura was like, Hokuto was the only one aside from Hishaku that wasn't present. Why is that? Why were the other ones, the strongest member, by the way, the Hishaku was there, but not Hokuto? It's almost like, all right, well, Hokuto's not going to come unless like there's a good fight. So Yura's like, okay, call Hokuto, tell him Uruha's here. You know what I mean? It's like that way he would come and get excited just to fight. That's how I kind of felt like Hokuto's character, but I mean, time will tell.
Yeah.
I gotta say though, I mean, really, we talked about just about everything. There wasn't a lot of story beats. It's just like a sequence, a couple sequences, and it's more just like building the characters up through. It's like a shonen. These characters grow through fighting. They develop through fighting. And that's what Natski is like. We're saying with Natski and Hokuto, like, I'm really impressed by Hokuto. He's one of my favorite Hishaku now. Like he's like Kaguri plus. He's like Kaguri with aura, excuse me. And I love his face when Uruha drops down. He looks like a kid in a candy store. Like, one's determined, and Uruha's determined, Natsuki's fed up, and Hokuto's hyped. It's like, what the difference?
Hard eyes. He got damn near hard eyes.
And he still doesn't call him Mr. Natsuki. He's just like, hey, Natsuki, we can win this with you here, which is crazy glaze, by the way. Maybe Uruha's like Yuta, where they're like Mr. Modest, but because Uruha was like impressive. Like, his showing has been impressive without his enchanted blade, and he's like, oh, now with you here, we can win this. Hella glaze.
Dude, I have one final story beat that I think is, or at least in my opinion, was pretty interesting, and it is the fact that Hokuto quote unquote tanks an Iso, but then Hakuri goes on to say that his Isos are weakening. So this, and then we see like a direct comparison with like the Isos that he did previously, right? And those did look stronger, like in terms of how it's portrayed. And then I started thinking to myself, okay, this is supposed to be Hakuri who is at half of his power, because his storehouse got messed up. They took half of his nerves and they put him into the other sorcery. and now he's only running at 50% power on both sorceries. So if it was like the original Hakuri from like the Rakuzaichi, he might have actually been able to do quite a bit of damage to Hokuto, because Hokuto actually got a nosebleed from this, which, you know, it's not really much, but it's still impressive damage.
It's funny you say that.
So, I like that.
I brought that up with Dice. I said if he was full powered, even if he just used the first one he used on those two dudes, like he's pushing Hokuto back at least. Like he's, you know, he's not like hurting him substantially, but he's putting damage on him, like real like damage that is going to make him like, you know, like blow back away from Kiri at least, because he's still, you know, got Kiri right next to him. Like he didn't budge.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I still think he tanks it, but I have nothing to back that up with. It's just speculation at this point. Like, but yeah, for sure, it's Hakuri's weak.
Is it like, you know, we're not like getting any straight up fights, so like definitely muddles the whole like power, like you know, scaling or the power dynamics in the series, because like Uruha cut down the big monster head thing, and we don't know how that sorcery works fully either. Like if the big head might put more of a weight on Uruha, because Kiri only cut the smaller heads, so like, you know, that build, like those might not do as much of a, you know, debuff, but she did cut a bunch of them, so it's hitting her like substantially. You know, we don't know like how to like quantify that in terms of how, like where they actually are at. Hakuri's weakened. You know, the Hishaku are 100%, but we just don't know. Like now we do have Natski who's like 100%, so we're gonna see that. Well, I always thought that was interesting, like because Chihiro's always kind of like, it's been a while since Chihiro was 100% in the story, because right after the Sojo fight, you know, the Rakuzaichi was like 18 days later, so, or like 20 something days later, and then right after the Rakuzaichi, he's already going to the temple, you know, getting ready to go to the temple. Like, you know, it's like very like quick succession of these fights that the good guys are just always nerfed. You know, they're always holding back, or they're nerfed or damaged, or there's some reason why. And not saying that there's reasons in the story why it works. It's just, you know, for the dynamics of like the Hishaku's, this like Akatsuki, you know, group of Kagurabachi, we know for a fact not everyone in the Hishaku is not built like that. Like, sorry Dice, but Hirohiko, he ain't built for like that combat yet. But like when he comes back, he will be, I think. But you know, it's just fun to see like how Hokuto, you know, handles these fights. His choreography is fun too. Like Shiny, you talked about earlier in the episode, just Hokuto with the like fish land, the fisheye lens, the perspectives, just the choreography and usage of abilities. Like Kiri, like she's like, you know, dancing with her sword essentially, and I'm looking forward to seeing Hokuto go crazy, like go for real, you know. And because like his armor, like what's up with his armor? That's a, you know, that's like a sorcerer item, you know, because like it grows as needed. You know, he reacted to a lightning attack, so he's like legit. But I mean, I gotta ask. I'd like to hear from each of y'all. Where do y'all think? Where do we go from here? Like, what's next chapter look like to y'all?
For me personally, I think it's just gonna be a continuation of this. I would not like to see a POV switch. I think that would be really bad for the momentum of this fight. We could see a POV switch, because, you know, we still have to find out what the other council members are doing. We know what Izaru is doing. He's at the barrier room. Kudo's supposedly dead. Ichiki and Azami are supposedly together, but what are the other guys doing? We don't know yet. We still have to see. Yeah.
The guy, mind if I cut in for a second? I just said the guy that looks like the Danny Phantom teacher. Remember, he's the one who went to go check on the sword master.
Oh, right. Yeah.
He's at the bottom level.
But yeah, so there are a couple still left unaccounted for. We still have to see the other elite troops, and we know that a lot of the other Hishaku members kind of ran off. They scattered, so they might encounter some elite squads and whatnot. But I would personally just like to see this fight just kind of play out for now, and then we can later get into the different POVs. We can do like a little flashback and then go into those other POVs. So yeah. What about you, Dice?
I agree with that. I have no reason to. At any moment now, we're gonna come back. We're gonna cut back to Chihiro and Samura. So we're probably gonna get hit with that when we least expect it. But right now, I agree with you. Like, I do not want to step away from this fight. Like, this has been pretty anticipated in the last couple of chapters. It's been building up, and I would not like to see like us step away from this now that the fight has arrived. But I wouldn't be surprised if that's exactly what happens.
Dude, you never know.
We'll see, man.
That's what Hokuzono does.
Yeah. Give us a 2-chapter fight, a straight just 2-chapter fight, you know? Like, it doesn't always, Chihiro doesn't always have to be the one to get like the actual fights, you know, that take longer than 1 chapter or whatever. I'd like to see, you know, I'd like to see them just go 2v2 or something for like 2-3 chapters. That would be gas to me. I mean, obviously, like, pacing matters and things like that, like because there's a lot, like, I mean, remember, the Swordmaster has stood up, you know, like, I'm not sure exactly when in the timeline that like occurred, at like what point, like if when the Hishaku entered, you know, or whatever, but you know, like y'all said, there's like the elite commanders that we still have to see. And to be real with y'all, I don't really want all of them to have like a deep connection. I'm okay with some of them just being like, you know, dealt with like quickly, you know. I don't need like a deep story for these like Kaminabi elite commanders. Like the one that I would like to see is the silhouette that had the girl that Kiri killed, the one with the ears that Dice loves so much. Like, she was in that panel with you know, one of the elite squads. I want to see that commander. Who squad is that? Like, what I think if that's Ichiki squad, then he's Kaminabi Yoda is really sus. But I'm interested to see like what elite squad she was in, because remember, each Kaminabi head has their own elite squad. Yeah. But I mean, I do agree. A POV would be like jarring a bit. It could still be a cool great chapter, obviously, but just in terms of like what, you know, and I think y'all agree, like what we want is just to see this unfold. And one thing I wanted to go back and bring up is talking about Hokuto's armor. Like, I mean, it could, you know, we know it's like I mean, we still don't know his sorcery really, because like it could be something like just so far out there in terms of like creation ability, where he's like creating this armor, like you know what I mean, or like he created that puppet. He has a creation ability or something like that. But that's why I would like to see Hokuto specifically, his sorcery. Yeah, like the official explanation. Revealed. You mean? You're right. Yeah, because you know we know the samurai was, you know, the puppet was there at the Kunishige assassination, and when he went to go assassinate Ibiki, you know that, you know, like he was the one that went to go do that. So it's like that's pretty crazy when you just think about it like that. Like the most important like moment in a timeline, like Hokuto wasn't even there for it, but like he is, like, you know, we see like that's why we only see his like legs, because it wasn't necessarily him.
I have a question for the two of you. So in this chapter, we see that the guy who kind of looks like Shikamaru with the glasses, who's part of Natski's squad, is standing behind Hakuri. Does that mean that Hakuri is safe for now? That he's just gonna protect Hakuri?
I'm not. I don't think so. Shiny. A quick answer. I'm not so sure that's the case. I was gonna actually address that guy, to say that this accompanied with like that one chapter where we had like the Kiri exposition dump right before she got attacked, and it was like, you know, kind of like comic relief. Yeah. It does really, this is a bit off topic, but I'm just gonna say it, like, it does really make me think that like Kagurabachi is gonna be the perfect anime, because it's these moments like this that like in the anime they work so well, but very rarely, at least in my experience, does it feel as satisfying, or does the comedy hit as well in manga? And it's these types of moments, like even with all that's going on, that really it really makes me want to see this story animated. But to go back to your question specifically, no, I mean, maybe maybe next chapter, he's pulling Hakuri through that hole, right? But I don't know. I wouldn't read too much into it. Maybe you're onto something.
Okay.
And what you said, Dice, about like how is it's like the type of source material that is going to be like really good for an adaptation if the adaptation is like handles it properly or with care, because the comedy, the tone shifts like they don't feel out of place. Like with Uruha, right before Uruha drops to the floor, we just see him like Hokuto blocks a lightning sorcery, right? Which lightning is pretty crazy. Like, I mean, that's like speedster wise, it's nuts. But that's when we see like the, Uruha's little goofy ass chibi face. And then, the other chapters that preceded this, is like the Hakuri is like, is he stupid? Because like he always just looks like befuddled. He just looks like he's always unsure. He doesn't know what's going on. He's sweating. Because I mean, don't get me wrong, the dude's got like nothing but bullshit happening. As soon as he left his family, Sojo's about to like blow up the street block, and Chihiro saves. Like, he saw so much like gruesome shit, and then like brain damage. He comes back and like he's already fighting for his life. But like even with all that going on, he still has those like little goofy faces that don't feel out of place. He kind of like it feel like it suits his character. Like if Natski was to do that, it would look like out of place, but Natski just looks like uninterested or fed up. So I think Hokuzono's like handles the source material so well with the tone shifts, or not tone shifts, but those little comedy humor moments. And to answer Shiny's question, I kind of agree with Dice. Like, the possibility's there, but I think that with Yura dropping through the floor, Hishaku still being a key, because he is still a key component to like what's going on. Whatever like he actually does, who the fuck knows, or when he comes back. But like, I mean, he only got kicked away through the wall. That shit, for someone of like what he stated as, that shouldn't be any problem. Maybe he just got kicked into like another like elite group and he's fighting them. But I think that Hakuri is gonna be on the run. Gonna be safe in terms of like the Hishaku won't have their hands on him, but he's gonna be on the run. Like, because this is the time to escape right now. They got that dude with the goggles. Yeah. Kiri could go with them. Yeah, that's the best that they could do, and then hopefully they just run into another elite commander that is helps.
Okay, fair.
Do you think this will be, and then we could wrap up here? This is just your speculation, the way that the bald Shaku's sorcery works. Because like, even though that they've been cut away, we know when they're cut away, you get the debuff, that's when it hits. Do you think that is a time thing, or do you think it's more like it stays on them until they get far enough away from bald Shaku to where it disengages the sorcery? What's your like gut feeling on that?
I think there's a time limit.
Yeah, I think I was just thinking about this, especially after Shiny's last question. I wouldn't be surprised if the sorcery, like it's not a time thing. It's like it has to be deactivated. So I wouldn't be surprised if Kiri now goes after Bald Shaku, because she knows that would also give Uruha a better chance against Chihiro. That might not happen, but if that happens, I could see like, once again, like with the whole like comedy relief, I could see they're gonna be passing Hakuri like a blunt at this point, but I could see Kiri passing Hakuri to the guy at the wall, at the other side of the wall. Like, yeah, okay, take care of this guy. I gotta run and find Bald Shaku.
Here, take baby.
Exactly. I could see that. That would be very in tone for this series, and Kiri could just try to deal with the Bald Shaku. But that just hit me. We'll see.
I think, remember, Hakuri did pull away those two dudes' swords in his storehouse. Watch, he's gonna pull them bitches back out in this arc. Like if Natski loses his sword and then he pulls those two swords out for Natski to use, like this, and saves him, that would be fire. Like Hakuri would get so many points for that. Because he did take away
Yeah, we'll
two
see, right?
swords. Natski uses two swords. So if they like disarm him somehow, and then Hakuri comes through and gives him the two swords he confiscated from the other guys he ISO'd. I like that. Like that is something that can like benefit his character without him actually like putting himself in danger.
Yeah, good point. I forgot about those swords.
Yeah, I mean, they could just not return. They could just be like, one-off thing. But other than that, I mean, that's the chapter. Looking forward to see where it goes. We do have a chapter next week. Shiny, always appreciate you coming back. Last time we had to kind of like rush through the episode a little bit, so it's cool to get these like different questions or theories bounce back to each other.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on again.
Yeah, of course, man.
Anytime, bro.
I just wanted to get you guys' thoughts on this. It's not really a lot to talk about, but how cool was it that Hokuzono went to NYC for that event, man?
Oh yeah, that's right.
I thought it was really cool, but at the same time, hot take, I was kind of disappointed. I was kind of disappointed with the level of questions that were asked. They were cool questions, because they just were like asking how he's doing, how he's feeling, what his work process is, etc., etc. But I was more so kind of hoping for questions with a little bit more substance in relation to the series itself. And we didn't get any of that, so I was kind of disappointed. But yeah, overall, it's still pretty cool. He took that group photo with like a bunch of fans. I think that's like really nice.
It's like not many mangaka, like big mangaka, come to the States. And like considering he's like 24, I think that's like he's down to do that because of his, like I said, his like the greatest quality he has is like the ability to keep the weekly engagement there. Like chapter to chapter is so fun to read. And I think it's like his grasp of the medium is so like next level. Like he understands what people want to see, like references, different usage of like art, like the art perspectives or choreography. Like it just seems like he has a good grasp and like he understands like the demographic. So, and he obviously is aware of how big it blew up like with the meme culture. So for him to come over here, it's like him acknowledging like that side of the fan base, which is rare that it happens. It's mostly like because Japan that's where all the numbers are. That's their like, and understandably so. But like I would like to know if he's already got the ending figured out. That's one thing I would like to know.
Yeah, he knows he has motion for real. Like, I think that's essentially what you're saying. And to what Shiny was saying about the questions, I really feel that, man. I would assume, right, it's a bunch of fans, and I don't mean that in a like derogative way, but like I can imagine like, probably like the shock and the maybe nerves or like just excitement that you're getting to meet the author. So I can imagine some guys went in there with the intention to ask some good questions and maybe froze in the moment, or were just more caught up by the fact that they were fans and just, cared to ask about memes and perhaps other things that mattered more to them. But I feel you on that one for sure.
It's completely fair. I don't blame anyone. I mean, you guys are there, have a good time, and like, but I just personally would have liked a little bit more of that. But I still think it's really cool.
Yeah, what Tiberius said is a good question.
I would have went there and I would have pulled out a jar of honey and he would have just looked at me. How about what time it is?
You'd have been kicked out.
Yeah.
Kicked out.
I'm in the Hishaku Hideout. I'd be like, "Where's Sumi at, bro?
Cool.
Bring Sumi back and her bike."
Where's Shiba at? Someone asked that.
Yeah, just start like just get like really like why is Hirohiko a bitch?
Aggressive?
Yeah, like just get crazy with the question. Why is Hishaku got a butthole eye?
Oh, what?
What's up with that? Butthole, his little crinkly ass eye, his stale eye.
I know, Shiny. I don't know what he's saying, Shiny. I've been trying to.
Like, if there's a character to hate in Kagurabachi, it's Hishaku. I hate him.
But any last thoughts, Shiny, on the chapter? Anything else you want to say on the story itself?
Stop sleeping on the strongest Hishaku member, the little kid. Stop sleeping on him, bro. This guy is not knocked out for 20 chapters, bro. This guy is long gone, bro. He's in a different fight or he's doing some kind of diversion. He's doing something. Stop sleeping on him. Bro, these characters in this very chapter that we just discussed are getting knocked through walls and they're still fine. Hokuto gets hit by the lightning strike that broke the pillars, that broke the building. Why would a similar level attack suddenly knock out the strongest Hishaku member? It makes no sense. The guy is gone. He's long gone, bro. Stop sleeping on him.
I mean, it could be anything. I'm just looking forward to see him returning. You know, I did mention like he could have got like kicked into like another elite group, but I would like to see him on panel just giving like the hands to the dude from the Cloud Gouger squad, anti-Cloud Gouger squad. Like just beat the piss out of him.
I second the sentiment. Me and Tiberius talked about this a bit. You know, definitely, you know, he was embarrassed. Like that first impression was intentional. You know, 100% by Hokuzono to, you know, for the readers to like let their guard down. And I still like Tiberius. I agree that I think the death match is related to Hishaku because, you know, Yura called it out, and that was the last chapter we saw Hishaku. We can see in this chapter because they got bruises and shit. They've been going at it for a minute, and the death match hasn't really been addressed yet. So I think it's related to Hishaku, and this whole thing that Yura's doing might be a diversion to like, you know, bring her like down enough to where like a fresh Hishaku could maybe step in with some crazy hacks, you know, or win con or whatever.
I don't want to discount the fact of the death match could have just been a like hyperbole, you know, it could have just been like him just outright stating like, you know, this is a death match, not necessarily relating to sorcery, you know, that's still a possibility. That's just a, you know, shown in dramatic effect. You know, like it's, you know, we just time will tell type of thing, but overall fun chapter. Good, great conversation. Looking forward to what he gives us next week. You know, make sure y'all go like follow Shiny. He streams every Sunday. I know he talks about more than Kagurabachi, like Itchy the Witch, right, Shiny?
I'm gonna be streaming my reaction to the last chapters of Vinland Saga soon. And I might be making a video on Absolute Batman pretty soon.
Oh shit. I'm there for that.
Yeah, I've been really enjoying that series.
Nice.
So yeah, I cover like quite a few stuff on my streams. I try to keep it fun.
But if you need a thumbnail for Vinland Saga, I got a fire thumbnail that I'm never going to use. I'll send it to you. And you don't need to use it obviously, but if you want to, you can. And but yeah, man, go check out Shiny. Good dude, good creator, smart guy. He has a good lens for this sort of thing. We like talking to him. Obviously, he's a think about our first guest and our second guest. That's how dope he is.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you coming on. And then as for us, we got we have guests lined up, actually, a pretty impressive cast, but we're going to like slowly trickle guest episodes out. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you go check out Dice's channel, my channel.
Let's go.
Dice, any
No, sir. No,
statements?
sir. We'll see where we go from here. Like I always say, it's been a pleasure today. Peace.
Yep. All right, guys. Peace.
See you.